Oh, Mel.
Hey, Steve.
No, moving around, guys. And then the nose. Ears. So top of ears and then middle and then the bottom. And when we get to the bottom, it's that slow pulling down of the earlobes 3 times. And then we go to the thyroid gland. So this is 3 positions. Bottom of the thyroid is around the collarbone. We're just using these 2 fingers around the outside of the thyroid and the parathyroid. Slide up a little bit to the middle. So it isn't going up very far. Slide up just a little bit more for the top. And then with the thumb and the index finger, we start at the collarbone again and sweep up off the chin 3 times. Kidney 27 is right underneath the neck. And then we go to the collar, we go to the sternum for a thymus gland. Thymus gland is important, but has a tendency as we get older to sort of shrivel up a lot of fatty tissue. So this tapping helps the cellular structure not go to that fatty tissue and still be working as the thymus gland. And then kidneys. And always important to work with the kidneys. And then we want to make sure that our lymphatic system is pressurized correctly. So we start with the collarbone. I'm just going to blow my nose, continue to do that.
Wow. Oh.
So all this work around the head and lymphatic has a tendency with me, especially in the morning, to loosen up sinuses, things going on in the lungs. And for me, this collarbone area is always working with the lung area because the lungs are going up through this area. Then sides of the neck. And this is helping to drain downward into the collarbone, toxins that are in both hemispheres of the brain. And we can do this one too with our fingers like this. And we just do the sweeping down part. And then the back of the neck. And squeeze and release brainstem. pecs. So remembering where that sore point is, we can go there first. Hopefully on everybody, this point is not sore anymore. We can do some tapping. Well, remember the heart is right here. And so we don't want to be tapping too hard into any of that space. Again, we're in that lung area still. And this area all in here, collarbone and pecs, can have a tendency to really, there can be blockages in these areas. So we want to definitely be working on these all the time. We can do some padding. And then we want to do under the arm. That's an area that can also have some blockages in it. And we can be pretty light in here as we tap, especially on this left side. Again, the heart is going, there's a heart area in here. And abdominal area. Center. and stomach meridian. And then the crease. And the back of the legs, back of the knees. And then our yin yang pattern. And the sides of the rib cage around the belt. Down the outside of the legs. So we get to the outside of the knees. And then the outside of the ankles. Up the front. So front of the knees. Around the belt again. Down the back of the legs. So back of the knees. And then up the inside, so inside ankles. Inside of knees. And then wise olives backwards. rhinoceros. Rotating palms and tendons and arms, shoulders. And then the full body movement of it. Standing snake body. And then our hip movements. Other direction. And then hula hips. Knee rotations. And flexing knees. And then rotation of ankles. And our acupuncture points. We'll probably start to do more of our summer points. So large intestine 4 on both sides. And liver 3. And these four gates that primarily we do in the springtime. People will work with large intestine 4 and liver 3 on a pretty regular basis throughout the year. Just because, again, when we work with some of these points, we're helping to work with the meridians of those areas and those areas physically. And liver and kidneys are always really good to work with. We can do gallbladder here. And then we can do gallbladder on the other side. And so the yin yang padding that we did helps to clear blockages in the meridian system. But now we're taking a little bit step further and going to some of the more important points. So let's do spleen 6, which is also spleen, kidney, liver, and then kidney 1 at the bottom of the foot here. So remember, it's right down from the ball of the foot here. And in this sort of center area, in between the two toes next to the big toe. So that space in between those two smaller toes, if you just go down that little ball of the foot, you get to kidney 1. And kidney 1 is a pretty important point, just like the Lao Gong point in the palm here. And let's do the other side with spleen 6. And then we can go to stomach 36. So we're covering a lot of the areas. Stomach, large intestine, kidneys, liver, spleen. We'll be working with the heart and the pericardium and the triple warmer. So let's go to the pericardium. So it's just that spiraling motion. The pericardium point is kind of in the center of the palm here. And we want to just circulate in this one direction here from thumb to little finger. Let's go to the other side. So this pericardium area helps to soothe the blood and also open the heart. So let's go to heart 7. So remember, it's that tendon here. You go inside, you just let your wrist collapse. And we're in that heart 7 point. So this point will help regulate the entire meridian. And remember, you don't want to really press in very hard. It's not really about that. And then let's go to the other side. And we're going through these pretty quickly. If you have time, 1 or 2 days a week, I've sent everybody the PDF file of all the summer points. Not a bad idea to spend a little bit of time with each one of those, 1 to 3 minutes. And let's go to the inner gate. So remember, it's the ring finger, middle index finger. Ring finger goes where the wrist crease is, and then the pericardium point is right in the center here. That's the inner gate. And this is our relationship with our inner self. So that's going to be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So this just helps us to check in with that relationship with ourself internally. And when the word gate is used, it's a much stronger association than, say, window. Because a window we can only really look through, so we really can't get into the space. But a gate or a door, we can walk into that space. So that's why this is a gate, because we can actually get into that relationship with ourselves. Let's do the other side. So it's the 3 fingers again, right in the center here. And we're just relaxing, and again, our awareness goes to that relationship to ourself internally. And so these inner and outer gates are 2 points that you may want to spend a little time with more during the week when we don't have class. And again, we don't have to press very hard into this place. And lately we've been spending a little bit more time doing the inner and outer gate. So let's go to the outer gate. That's the triple warmer. Again, it's the same 3 fingers lined up to the wrist. And it's right in the center of the yang side. And this is the outer gate, triple warmer. So triple warmer also has a relationship with the pericardium, which is why there's an inner and outer gate and they're just right opposite each other. And also it has a relationship with our fight, flight, freeze aspect. And this is our relationship with the outer world. So our outer world first is our home, our close family, and then going into relatives, and then going into our relationship with everything else in the world, which would be politics and all that other stuff. And so when we hold this point, we want to really look at what our relationship with the outer world is, because it may be a relationship that is triggering the sympathetic nervous system with fear and anxiety and worry, or we can go to the parasympathetic and be relaxed more of the time. And so when we use these points, what we're really just trying to do is get to our awareness. So in the moment, we're not trying to change anything. We're just trying to see what's my awareness right now in the present moment to the outside world. What's that relationship? And then maybe if you notice over a period of time that that relationship is always one of anxiety and worry and fear and fight and flight and things like that. So let's do it on the other side. Then you may want to do some practices like healing sounds and things like that that help you to mitigate the more negative aspects of the way we're dealing with the world. Because the world's going to do what it's going to do. There's always going to be a lot of chaos. There's always going to be a lot of things going on that we may not like. But again, that's just the acquired mind that we have of, because some people like what we don't like. And so we want to notice that that's just a matter of opinion and not something that we want to really stress about. So let's finish up some of our movements for the heavenly stem. And the heavenly stem we did yesterday because that's our bone work. And the heavenly stem is the spinal cord. And so we're going to start with the hawk penetrating the forest. So hawk penetrating the forest and tiger plays with the ball is going to be dealing with our rib cage area, just like standing snake body does. So probably the easiest way to start it is have the right palm kind of over to the left side, lower part of the body around where the navel is. The left palm is kind of protecting our face here from a blow. And again, the shoulders nice and relaxed, the shoulders relaxed, shoulder blades. So we're not up like this. Elbow is typically down. shoulders relaxed. And this movement is sort of a sweeping movement that we try to accomplish with the rib cage. And the spine's always going to be involved when we do that. And so the movement is we sweep around the back and then let the arms rotate because the rib cage is rotating. And then we end up this way. So the movement is the rib cage is spiraling like this because when the hawk penetrates the forest, a lot of times trees are very close together. So what the hawk does is the wings are out like this and the hawk will squeeze in to get in between the tree, but then immediately go out again with the wingspan. Another thing, if they're very close together, the hawk will turn and go through the trees sideways. And that's kind of the turning motion that we're having with our rib cage here to do hawk penetrates the forest. So it's this rolling backward. So again, you're going to be lifting. So if we're facing the right side here, so this is the right palm, and we roll backward a little bit, what's happening is the left side of the rib cage is lifting up to do this movement. And then the right side sinks down and we turn and come into this. So it's this rotation. So it's this palm kind of goes back because we're turning the rib cage and the spine to the back. And then we feel the rotation go through and we go here. So, and again, you're going to feel this in the lower back Mingmen area quite a bit. And you're going to feel it in the rib cage quite a bit. So we just alternate going one side, we rotate, go to the other side. Let's just do one more, rotating around. And so you might feel some tenderness in the rib cage area here. These are really good moves. These are all really good movements for the spinal cord, but also they're good movements for all the interior organs to do these rib cage movements. So the next rib cage movement is the tiger playing with the ball. So this one's going to feel more round as we do it. So the other one had sort of this angular thing that kind of went on. So this is a little more angular. So see if you can feel the difference between these two. When we do tiger rolls the ball, we have the right palm lower facing upward, the left palm is facing downward toward the ball. And when we roll the ball, it's a similar kind of movement, but again, much more round. The bottom palm is going to go forward and out as the top palm, again, is going to roll back. And then we end up here. So now we roll the ball this way. And so when we roll the ball, again, it's going to feel more round. And what you want to try to really tune into is these two Lao Gung points, and think of them as being having a laser beam that's like your garage door opener. That laser beam has to stay connected to both sides when you roll the ball. Because if it becomes disconnected, then the laser beam isn't hitting its spot here, and you're not going to have success in opening the door. So the same kind of thing when we do any kind of rolling ball movement. And so with the tiger rolling the ball, plays with the ball, it's a pretty big ball. And so again, we want to keep these palms connected as much as possible as we roll the ball so that we don't drop the ball. And again, the rib cage and the spine are turning, and then they're turning. And there's a movement up and down with the rib cage that's also having the spine do that. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this is going to feel a lot more round. So this And we do these pretty slowly because, again, we're focusing on a lot of different things here. We're really paying attention to our spine and our rib cage, but we're also paying attention to these Lao Gong points to make sure we're not dropping the ball. So that's the tiger plays with the ball, and we're always rolling it upward. So the next one is the rolling back fist. And there's three parts to this one. So the first part is, so just use your right palm and make a fist here and have it. So our rib cage is going to turn to the left. And our palm is going to, fist is going to look like this. And then the second movement is we roll around the elbow and the fist goes forward like this. And then the third movement is we turn and let the fist pull back to the rib cage. So again, we're turning the spine and the rib cage to the left with the right fist. We're letting the fist roll forward. And then we're letting it pull back. And what we want to do with this one is we alternate. So first, it's going to be the right fist goes here, rolls forward, rolls back. And then the left fist comes over, rolls forward, rolls back. And then the right fist comes forward, rolls forward. So it's three different kind of sectional movements here. And there's a little bit of a pause. So the second part of this one is we're only going to really have two movements. We're going to do the rolling fist part all in one movement like that. So it's going to go to the side and forward like that, and then it just comes back, and that's the second movement. And then this one does that movement and rolls back. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So on the first one, it's three specific movements. It's 1, 2, 3. But then it's 1, 2, combined 3. And the third one is we do a continuous rolling fist. So all the movements are continual like this. And so it's shaping again the interior to do a little faster movement. So let's do shoulder roll next. So the shoulder roll is looks like this. So first we're rolling the shoulder backward like this. And when we do that, so you're going to have, so if you're on your right shoulder, right palm, right foot is a little bit forward. And when we roll back, again, we feel the rib cage is rolling back, and we're lifting the rib cage and the spine to bring the palm up a little bit, and the toes come up at the same time. So we're kind of lifting all the connective tissue of this side of the body all at once. And so the inhale is this movement. And then the exhale is this movement where the toes go down and the palm comes forward. So the palm coming forward is at about this spacing. And then when we do the inhale again, the palm just kind of relaxes and drops down to get ready to do the inhale, again lifts the palm a little bit. We turn and go forward. And so when we drop our fingers here, the inhale is also going to be lifting our toes and doing the shoulder roll. And the rib cage and the spine are involved with this turn, and the breath, inhale, lifts, opens the spine a little, and then we do the other side. So now it's the left foot forward, and we roll back, toes come up, go forward. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale, exhale. And this one also has two parts, so two directions. So first we're rolling the shoulder back and then forward, but then we roll the shoulder backward and forward, okay? So first we were kind of lifting, doing this kind of roll, and I'm exaggerating it, but now we're going to do that roll where we do this. So again, toes are going to be used here, and here we're going to be a little bit lower so that the movement actually is lower here as we roll back, and then the palm presses forward a little bit as the toes go down. So here it's more of a moving downward and then moving up and forward. So here we're moving back and forwards. You can see here we're moving up, back, forward. So now we're moving in the opposite direction, okay? So now it's everything drops first and then lifts up a little bit to go forward. So rolling the shoulder, toes go up. And then let's do the other side. So again, it's the backward roll and the toes come up. And then the palm presses forward gently. Inhale to do this part. Exhale to do this part. Inhale to do this part. Toes come up, toes go down. So you want to feel that there's sort of a circular movement with the toes and the fingers being connected here and rolling either in one direction or the other direction. So the next one is Cobra out of the basket. And this is one of my favorites. So when we do Cobra out of the basket, we want to make sure, so one palm is the basket, the other palm is going to be the cobra head. And one thing we want to make sure is that the basket is not in too close. So we want to have the basket more rounded and out here. The cobra is inside. And so the mechanics of how this one works is we're kind of lifting this one side of the rib cage and the spine to bring the cobra head out of the basket. And again, there's always that turn here so that we're turning. And again, it's mainly the rib cage and the spine that are turning. You'll notice that the hips might be also turning, but you want to really kind of focus on the rib cage and the spine doing the work here. So the cobra comes back to get ready to strike, and then it strikes. And then this palm falls down to become the basket. This one turns to become the cobra head. And now this side lifts up, turns, and the cobra strikes again. And then this drops down. And so we're just alternating this. So how this feels is the rib cage and the spine are lifting a little bit to bring the cobra head up and back. And then the spine and the rib cage stay lifted. But again, this is all done with your mind. So you're just feeling this. And then the cobra strikes, you're still lifted, but now everything sinks when it becomes the basket. And now this side lifts up a little bit. stays lifted as it strikes and then sinks as it becomes the basket. And so you try to do it fast like this eventually. And that might take a little bit of time, so just do it slowly. And really feel how this is all moving. And again, we want to be really relaxed when we're doing any of these movements. So what we want to really feel all the time with Qigong practice is that all the muscles are just hanging on the bones as if the bones are the hanger. And the rest of the flesh, all the muscular system, the connective tissue is just like a loose, light sweater hanging on the bones. And then when we make these movements, the chi is moving through all that connective tissue, and you are getting some movement in the bone structure, but it's really the chi that we're trying to get to move in these spaces. And so we're out of time for today. There's a few more of these left, but we'll be doing these again anyway. So just, you might like one or two of these. So practice the ones you like, and maybe get a little bit better with them. And thank you for coming to practice together.
Thank you, and I hope you these both have a good weekend. I can't believe another week has flown by. Oh my God.
I know, really, it's like it's August tomorrow, so
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Take
everybody take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next time. Have a great weekend.